the road to face Kansas State, a team that would love another bullet point for its tournament resume. Baylor, the defending Big 12 and national champion, is a game back of Kansas after Texas beat the Jayhawks on Big Monday. K-State 4-6 and alone in 6th place. And hi there and welcome, along with former Oklahoma State guard Brendan Manzer. I'm Ted Emmerich. Yeah, it was hard to recognize Baylor on Saturday against Kansas. The Bears haven't suffered a loss like that in 3 years, but Scott Drew promised that his team and star guard James Akinjo would be a lot better tonight.
Yeah, it was a tough day at the office, to say the least, for the Baylor Bears and James Akinjo, who otherwise has been absolutely terrific for Scott Drew. He had just had 25 points, carried the team with 2 key players out against West Virginia the game before, struggled in Lawrence. He's getting healthier. Remember, he's had some back issues, but I expect him and Baylor to be refocused and be ready to go tonight.
And as for Kansas State, they boosted their tournament hopes with back-to-back wins. Brendan, Nigel Pack is the reigning Big 12 Player of the Week.
And rightly so. This young sophomore is absolutely outstanding. And the beauty of his game, Ted, is he is so efficient. Dead-eye shooter, can create, smart decision maker, and he has become a star in this league.
Both teams without key pieces again tonight. Kansas State without Selton Miguel, their best on-ball defender, for a 4th straight game because of an ankle injury. For Baylor, as they come up with a steal early, here is Kendall Brown, the freshman, elevating for the slam. The Bears are without their top scorer, L.J. Cryer, for a 4th consecutive game because of a foot injury.
One of the things that you'll see with Baylor, and they're really extending right now, they're going to try to keep K-State on the sideline, and it's important that Kansas State moves the basketball and not let it stick here tonight.
Back-to-back turnovers for Kansas State to start, back-to-back steals for Baylor as you check out the Bears. Starting 5 with Flagler, Akinjo, Meyer, Brown, and Flo Thamba, the lone returning starter from the national championship team a year ago. And an offensive foul against Baylor.
Well, 2 quick turnovers from Kansas State, and here's the run-through right here from Brown. Athleticism, length, terrific young player for Scott Drew. And that K-State's got to be careful. They are tops in the league, K-State is, Ted, in terms of ball security. But Baylor turns you over a bunch. They disrupt you, and they'll have to clean that up or it'll be a long night.
Foul was against Marquise Noel of Kansas State, beg your pardon. Meyer misses the jumper. And here is 5th-year senior Mike McGurl in transition, has it ripped away. And the whistle blows. McGurl has become an X-factor presence for Kansas State. The Wildcats are 5-0 when he scores in double figures.
Yeah, that's
you see the difference.
Yeah, look at that graphic right there. And it's not so much, Ted, that he's got to go get a dozen or 15. It's just the efficiency with which he does it. And win against Oklahoma State last Wednesday, he had 10 rebounds.
Nigel Pack gets Kansas State on the board with a 3. Nobody in the Big 12 makes more 3s per game than the sophomore from Indianapolis, better than 3 per contest.
He is a sharp shooter, to say the least. He has 23 3-point makes in the last 5 games, Ted. And he does such a good job of squaring up. He's got great balance. He's got a quick release. And he knows how to read screens and create the space to get his shot off.
Pack is the 2nd leading scorer in the Big 12 in conference play, behind only Ochai Agbaji of Kansas. 19 points per game. He's 3rd overall in scoring. Bradford misses inside. Meyer pulls it down for Baylor. These teams met 15 days ago, and Baylor put it on K-State in Waco, won by 25. Kansas State with their worst offensive outing of the season. Akinjo in and out, picking up where he left off on Saturday against KU.
Kansas State's been better the last couple of games, Ted, offensively. And notice they're really pushing the basketball. And Bruce Weber wants his team off makes and misses to push. They have multiple guards that can lead breaks.
Now, this is not the K-State team from the last few years that wants to grind it out and just walk it up the floor. Tchamwa the kick. 10 to shoot. Brown misses. And the rebound for Mike McGurl. Bruce Weber, in fact, has his team practicing with a 7-second shot clock in terms of they want to be able to get into their set 7 seconds in. They hear that buzzer, they know that they're too slow bringing it up the floor. Foul on the perimeter as Noel made his move.
That's exactly right. And see Coach Weber right there, 10th season at K-State. You know, they made the call as a staff to push it, create more tempo. And when you play those four guards, Ted, and one of them being Mark Smith, essentially, who's a terrific rebounder, as we know, he can clean the glass and lead a break. And what that's allowed them to do is get transition points, but also get into some flow and rhythm offensively in the half court.
Weber sent his entire team a text, in fact, after the loss to Ole Miss as Smith lays it in. It was their third consecutive loss. He said, we've got to pick up the pace. We have to play to our strengths with all of these guards. Tchamwa knocks it down. Already better from Saturday when he was 0 for 11. James Tchamwa is on the board.
Well, he is a terrific playmaking guard, obviously point guard, but also the ability to score. Now, I would look for him to, he always is looking to attack, Ted, but tonight, I bet you early, he's got that in his mind to get back on that right track.
Inside, everyday Jonathan Tchamwa Tchatchoua bulls his way to the basket. He destroyed K-State in the first meeting, Brendan, with 13 points and 12 rebounds.
He has so much energy and a high motor, and you see that mostly on the offensive glass, but an improved offensive player, as you saw right there, going around Lingard of K-State in that last possession.
He's the third leading rebounder in the conference. Gives it ahead to Tchamwa. A little pick and pop. Everyday John can hit the three now this year. K-State wanted the travel, no whistle. And Baylor turns it over. Jeremy Sohan coughs it up, sending us to an official timeout. Baylor trying to respond from Saturday. They're up 1.
Saturday, 20 points on 7 of 10 shooting, and that's mostly perimeter jumpers. Very efficient.
Third leading scorer in the Big 12 behind Ochai Agbaji of Kansas and Taz Sherman of West Virginia. So a couple of weeks ago, after Kansas State was blown out by Baylor on the road, Bruce Weber texted his team, don't come into the gym. It's a day off. Weber shows up late, around 9 a.m. He's going to watch some film. And there's Nigel Pack in the gym shooting. As Bruce Weber says, he's just a leader by example.
Yeah, he's really a soft-spoken young man, although Coach Weber said that he's starting to be a little more vocal. But you don't also want a guy to not be himself. But the best way you can lead is by example, and certainly Nigel Pack has done that.
You see Scott Drew in his 19th year. He's built the culture of joy in Waco. Lingard fouled inside. There was certainly no joy in Lawrence over the weekend. Drew was as animated as ever, Brendan, arguing the offensive foul against Matthew Meyer. Got teed up. His team was down 20, but he knew what he was doing.
Oh, absolutely. And that was going to affect the game. And you could understand why he didn't love the call. But this is a guy that's been good for a long time. And you and I joked with him last night. You know, a casual basketball fan recently asked, you know, Baylor's become good in the last 2 or 3 years. And I said, no. I said, where have you been? They've been good for a decade plus. And a big part of that is what you were originally alluding to, Ted, tremendous culture and team chemistry. They develop that within their teams as good as anybody in the country.
It is literally storybook. It is a movie. What Scott Drew, his staff, the entire program has done over the course of 2 decades. Deflected by Pack, out of bounds. It'll stay with Baylor. 10 on the timer.
And obviously Baylor's had great players, but there's also a mixture of guys waiting their turn. You know, 3- and 4-year guys. Obviously with the transfer portal, that gets more challenging for coaches, but players want to be part of the winning culture and make an impact and be part of something special.
Noel the strip, the Big 12's leader in steals. Lost his balance, got knocked down, no whistle. Pack with a steal and a triple. Nigel Pack connects for his second 3. What a sequence. And now a foul on Noel, and that'll be his second.
Yeah, sloppy sequence right here. Noel doesn't get the contact he thought he would get, and then Meyer, I don't know where he was going there. That was just basically an assist to an elite shooter right there to catch in rhythm and knock down that tray. And that's that smooth stroke right there of Pack.
So Noel checks out with the 2 personals, not even 6 minutes in. Meyer from deep, on air ball. Now, we talked with Scott Drew last night, asked him, would you like to see Matt Meyer more aggressive, kind of like the closing moments of the West Virginia game last week where he scored all 9 of his points late. He says, if we could get that Matt Meyer for 40 minutes, I would love it. He was laughing as he said it, but you know he's serious. K-State the turnover. Sohan, awkward look. And he rams into the stanchion underneath the basket. 5 on 4 as Sohan runs into your picture.
Yeah, both teams have been sloppy in terms of ball security and decision making, getting a little bit too sped up. Ted, you want to play quick. Obviously Baylor with their athletes and their great perimeter players want to push and transition, get the tempo going. K-State, we talked about wanting to push it, but you have to do it while still having good decision making.
Flagler misses the layup. Smith on the cut. And Mark Smith, the 5th-year senior from Edwardsville, Illinois, the grad transfer from Missouri, heads to the line.
Well, this is what Pack can do. Because of the attention he draws, he catches Baylor ball watching. You see right there, Flagler off that penetration from Pack. And sometimes it doesn't mean you have to get downhill straight to the rim, Ted. Just a dribble to you draw help. And then Mark Smith, who has been terrific for Bruce Weber, especially the last 3 games. Just a nice hard cut. These are 2 really good cutting and ball movement teams in the half court offensively.
Brendan Smith with double-doubles in 2 of the last 3 games, averaging 18 points and 11 rebounds in that span.
Well, the thing that he has done in that 3-game stretch is he's gotten just to where he was, the foul line. 21 free throw attempts the last 3 games. That tells you he's being aggressive, and he's been being aggressive after ball movement in half court and trying to create those driving angles.
Kansas State has scored 7 in a row. 3 ball from the corner, off the mark for Baylor. Offensive rebound. Tchamwa Tchatchoua goes up and is fouled. It'll go against Ismail Massoud of Kansas State.
Well, one of the things that has allowed K-State to be successful in their wins, Ted, is rebounding. And TCU, an excellent offensive rebounding team, only out-rebounded K-State by 3. So I don't think they have to win the rebounding margin battle, but they've got to be in the ballpark against Baylor. And with their bigs, especially Tchamwa Tchatchoua, they've got to body up and keep him off the glass. Easier said than done, though, right?
And then that's the story all year for Kansas State. Can they find any kind of production from their bigs? Davion Bradford has regressed. Casey Eziago struggles with fouls. Carlton Lingard has struggled with injuries. But they can't get crushed on the glass or in the points in the paint category like they were in the first meeting.
Yeah, really all you need from those bigs is just good energy. And to be solid, you don't have to have monster numbers from those guys. I did think Lingard, he's still slight in terms of his build, but I thought he played tough and matched the toughness of TCU's bigs when he was in there Saturday night.
Back against the taller Sohan, too strong. And the rebound ripped down by Kendall Brown.
Well, that's what Baylor's going to have to do with Pack, is he's going to score, but you have to make everything tough on him.
Brown, teardrop is good. Kendall Brown, what a season it has been for the McDonald's All-American for a year ago. Scott Drew said last night, don't you think that it's harder for freshmen in the Big 12, especially in the age of the transfer portal, going up against fifth-year and sixth-year seniors? And Brown, as a teenager, is producing. Baylor down by 2 on the road. 12th at the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. That quarterfinal Thursday is not to be missed year after year, and especially this year. Perhaps 7, as many as 8 teams could go dancing. Kansas State up 12-10 over number 10 Baylor in Manhattan. Ted Emmerich, Brendan Manzer with you. Kendall Brown, preseason Big 12 Freshman of the Year, mentioned it right before the timeout. Brendan, Scott Drew is impressed with what he has done, considering the competition in the Big 12, what he's facing. Now, I remember last year when he played at Sunrise Christian in Wichita, Kansas, his coach Luke Barnwell called him the selfless superstar.
Yeah, and he plays like that. That's what I'm most impressed with, because he basically understands who he is at this point of his career. And he's coachable, he's humble. Obviously, he's going to be a tremendous player. And defense and rebounding has been better from him once conference play began. Now, scoring's down a little bit, but that tells you that he understands what he can bring the team in terms of those two statistically.
Nigel Pack was run off the three-point line, so he banks it in for 2. K-State back up 4.
Again, just great feel from Pack right there. And you obviously have to be there on the catch out at that three-point line. But it's a double-edged sword. His ability to drive it can also hurt you.
Flagler draws the foul. 2 free throws coming for the junior from Duluth, Georgia. Fouls against McGurl, his first. I love the analogy that Drew gave about Flagler last night, Brendan. Says he's like our workhorse running back. Think Derrick Henry. We need Flagler healthy because we rely on him so much. He knows all 3 guard positions. He played a lot of point guard with James Akinjo missing 2 games because of the injury. And he's Baylor's most trusted voice on defense. They need Flagler to do so much.
Yeah, one of the things that makes Baylor so good, Ted, is they have had multiple two-way players, meaning can play both ends of the floor. Obviously, Flagler can shoot it. Offensively, he's been great, especially in the absence of some teammates. And you look at it last year, he really blended well within those 3 perimeter players that were so special that are now pros. He was that 4th guard, and really there was little drop-off from Flagler in that 4-guard rotation. You had Teague, Mitchell, and Butler. And so now, fast forward a season, he stepped up in the forefront, and he has handled himself great.
Bradford inside, rejected by Tchamwa Tchatchoua. And Brown throws it away. 5th turnover for Baylor.
Yeah, the young fella right there just get a little bit sped up, didn't get anything off transition, and no need to try to make a home run play. Just get it back out top and run some offense.
Baylor trying to disrupt Kansas State right now at the press. Dale Bonner with the deflection. The transfer from Division II Fairmont State in West Virginia. Yes, going from D2 to the Big 12, and he's played more minutes, especially over the last few weeks with the other guards dealing with injuries.
Yeah, there's always silver lining with COVID protocol, which every program has dealt with. Injuries, when you get a guy like Bonner, who they really like, more minutes, because once you get Pryor back and other guys get a little more healthy, that's going to make a guy like Del Bonner that much more efficient in the minutes that he gets. In fact, against West Virginia, when Flagler and Pryor weren't available, he started and played 36 minutes.
McGurl creates, he puts it in, plus the foul. Takes a hard spill as well, but the veteran with a chance at three.
A little out of position right there from Akinjo, and you get that rub from Bradford. And nice job of McGurl, who's playing with tremendous confidence right now. We talked about K-State's won games when he gets to double figures. And ability to knock down the three. He's been shooting it great lately. Baylor aware of that. And therefore, he's able to drive it with Baylor being a little bit out of position defensively.
And Brendan, K-State really needs McGurl right now with Marquise Noel on the bench with two personals.
Yeah, that's a great point, and we'll see how long Bruce Weber can keep Noel out. Now, if they're still up, things going well, he'll just buy his time and feel his way through. He'd like to get through the half, protecting those two.
Sohan underneath, Thamba, no, Brown, yes. Kendall Brown has springs for legs. You see how high he can get up.
Well, you get the touch inside, and obviously you draw that attention. That allowed Brown to come over on that weak side to get that putback.
Brown leads Baylor with 6 points. Pack way off. Wanted a foul. No whistle. Still K-State ball.
Yeah, here's that last possession. You invite the double team. You have Smith on Thamba, which eventually frees up Brown on that weak side.
9 on the timer here for Kansas State. Pack against Thamba, and there's the foul. With 2 on the shot clock.
Just take a look right here. You get Pack off the ball screen. Yeah, no question. Where Thamba got in trouble, Ted, as he entered his space. And there's no question. I mean, he was in good defensive position. Those bigs just need to use their size and contest. But that's also a credit to Pack. You know, he's savvy, able to create the contact to get himself to the line.
And Pack's an 87% foul shooter. That would lead the Big 12 if he qualified, if he had enough attempts. Former ESPN 100 recruit coming out of Indianapolis, committed to Kansas State early. His recruiting blew up after he erupted at the Peach Jam in the summer of 2019, but he stuck with his commitment to Kansas State. Bruce Weber thankful for that. Weber says from the very beginning in high school when he watched him and noticed his feel for the game and his poise.
Well, he's also, allowed himself to be coached. I mean, he was the best player as a freshman on a team that really struggled last year, that was young and inexperienced. And the next step for him was to go make individual plays.
Pack with the steal ahead to Luke Kazuki, who lays it home. Kansas State has opened up a 7-point lead.
Well, Scott Drew was concerned coming in tonight about ball security. He did not want to have live ball turnovers and allow K-State to get out and run.
Bradford with the block on Thamba, but Flagler recovers it. 12 on the timer. Flagler launches and drills it. Big shot from Adam Flagler, a 3.
Yeah, really smooth. When you watch Baylor, they're really good in ball screens because, one, they allow it to get set. Their bigs do a great job. And two, the guards know how to use those ball screens. And Flagler hits that big 3 right there.
Pack is headed right back to the line after the official timeout. Kansas State up 4 at Bramlage Coliseum.
10 early points on just 5 shot attempts, Ted. And this is what we talked about earlier. He is so efficient, not a volume shooter. He is a guy that takes good shots within himself and knows how to get them.
And Pack will have 2 free throws coming out of the timeout. Kansas State up by 4. His backcourt mate, Marquise Noel, on the bench for the last 6+ minutes after picking up 2 personal fouls. He remains on the bench. The Little Rock transfer who has helped transform K-State this year, along with the evolution of Pack. So, Brendan, there's a lot of conversation about Nigel Pack being potentially first-team All-Big 12. What do you think?
Right now, he would have my vote. If we did it today, we're a little over halfway through Big 12 conference season. You know, he's had 2 huge games, and I think obviously when you win, it stands out even more. But he has been terrific all conference long. And again, he's at the top of the scouting report. He's not a jet in terms of quickness, and he's not very big. He can just flat out play. And right now, as you mentioned, you know, he is carrying the load offensively. When Noel went out, K-State was up 4. He's allowed Bruce Weber to continue to protect Noel.
In and out for Pack this time. Baylor within 3 after the Flagler floater moments ago. Akinjo, Flagler from NBA range, too strong. And the Big 12's leading rebounder, Mark Smith, has it for Kansas State. Nice look inside. Smith finding Casey Eziaku for the dunk.
So that is what makes K-State good if they can just defensive rebound, because Smith gets it, and although that was not a fast break, he can handle it out front. So he gets K-State into immediate offense, and you get an easy one right there.
Flagler, Thamba with the putback for Baylor.
And that's what Baylor has to do until they get into some flow offensively. Just keep pounding that offensive glass. They have 6 offensive rebounds already so far.
Smith, strong take against Meyer. You see why Bruce Weber calls him a bull. And a timeout. 6:06 to play in the first half. Kansas State by 5. Bruce Weber calling time. Now, Weber told us, Brendan, that he felt like Baylor punked them 2 weeks ago in Waco. Lost by 25. He says, we just weren't ready to play. It was fresh off that gut punch of a loss that we saw against Kansas when Kansas State was up by 17 early in the second half and couldn't finish the deal. They were sleepwalking against Baylor that night. Weber thought that his team would respond pretty well this time around against the Bears.
Yeah, and you remember that Kansas game, they had just beaten Tech and won at Texas, so they're flying high. They have that great first half against Kansas, and then Kansas dominates the second half. They were just beaten down and weren't ready for that Baylor game, but ever since they've been playing well. See, again, there's Smith right there. Again, you have those 4 guards. Good screen by Eziaku, which ironically, Bruce Weber, when we asked about him, said, I just need him to set better ball screens. He does right there. He gets rewarded. But Smith, playmaking right there, and he has K-State's, been involved in K-State's last 2 baskets.
Tchamwa Tchatchoua lost it out of bounds. Last touch by Kansas State. Yeah, it's been a busy elevator of a season for Kansas State. They lost 4 in a row to start Big 12 play. The wins over ranked teams, Texas Tech and Texas. Then they lose 3 in a row. And they've won back-to-back games coming into tonight. Sohan spotting up. And he knocks down the triple. A 34% shooter from the outside. Baylor within 2.
Really skilled. He's got good size, and he can shoot it. He's going to he'll be one of the better shooters in this league over the next couple of years. K-State miscommunication leaves him wide open over there on that right side.
Smith again. Deflected by Sohan and stolen by Baylor. Noel back on the floor for Kansas State. Around and out for Akinjo, and the rebound for K-State.
You know, one of the things with Baylor the last 3 games, Ted, if you look at it statistically, defensively, you know, Bama shoots 59% from the floor, West Virginia 54, and Kansas shot 52 the other day. They haven't been as good. Notice K-State's ability, you see it right there with Smith, without much ball movement to get downhill into the paint against Baylor. They haven't quite been as sharp defensively as of late.
Mark Smith is attacking the paint at will right now. He's got 8 points. Tchamwa Tchatchoua gives it up. Sohan wants another 3. And the back tap by Everyday John. Kendall Brown banks it in. Brown with a solid first half. 8 points to go with 4 boards.
Yeah, that's really good right there. Brown recognizes that he has easy agu on him, and that's an easy one for him to put on the deck and get an easy look. Smart play.
Noel so quick. Missed the jumper. Long offensive rebound. Masood offline. Baylor can take the lead with a 3. Long 2 goes down. And Baylor ties it up with James Akinjo's second bucket.
Yeah, you get to stop right there, and they're able to push. And Akinjo pushes hard enough. He does a great job of getting the defense back on the heels. McGurl protecting that drive first, but he had enough space to knock down the mid-range.
Smith again in the lane, and again he banks it in. Go ahead and flex, Mark Smith, and shake your head.
Well, it was Pack early in the half carrying them. Now it's Smith. Smith able to just use that big body to continue to get easy looks.
Tchamwa Tchatchoua with the flush. Akinjo found him.
Yeah, there's that playmaking ability of Akinjo. Obviously, can score from that point guard position. He's been doing that his entire collegiate career. And then right there, that's just a nice, easy look to the big fella.
Can Baylor stay in front of Mark Smith right now? Got to give it up. Back to Smith. And he connects from long range. Smith inside. Now Smith outside. Kansas State takes the lead. Deflected by McGurl. Akinjo recovers it. Sohan leans in. That's good. With a foul.
Well, Mark Smith got the baton from Nigel Pack. I mean, he has been driving to the basket at will. Now knocks down that 3-point shot. Attack mode down at TCU, more so than normal. See the face up right there. He has the quickness over Meyer. Here's that one in transition, gets them right into offense after leading the break. And then on this possession, it's Bonner. So he has the size, and once he's got an angle, Mark Smith, 6'4", broad, strong, he's a grown man. He gets that angle, you're not going to keep him from getting to the rim. And you see what he has backed up Nigel Pack in terms of point production.
Now Smith and Pack carrying Kansas State right now. Mark Smith is looking like the player Bruce Weber says he saw in high school. Weber said that Smith was a point guard in high school. Funny to imagine now, 6'4", 225, plays kind of a mismatch, hybrid 3-4 position for Kansas State now in his 5th year in college, but he still has that skill set. Sohan caps the 3-point play. We are tied at 32 with 2 minutes to play in the first half in Manhattan. Baylor coming in having lost 2 of 3 and got embarrassed by Kansas over the weekend. Nigel Pack buries it. K-State back on top.
A great job right there, and it's not like elite quickness. I mean, he's obviously a good athlete, but he just gets his space. And right there, easy one.
Tchamwa Tchatchoua with the stick back off the miss by Akinjo. 8 points for Everyday John, tying Kendall Brown for the team lead.
Well, he has picked up his numbers this year, 8.7 a night. 66% from the floor, and you see what offensive glass, and when he gets an angle and size, he uses his strength to finish.
A turnover on McGurl. So Kansas State gives it up with 1:10 to go in the half.
You know, Baylor's bigs, Tchamwa Tchatchoua, Thamba, they play with such great energy and passion, and that exudes or transitions to other members of the team, and that's exactly what Scott Drew wants.
I don't think if we were on site we would be able to corral that from Akinjo. Just slipped out of his hands and he knew it.
Well, that's the only thing about his game at times is he gets careless with the basketball. He has 13 turnovers in the last 3 games.
McGurl surrounded. Kazuki. Loose ball. Pack the dive. And a timeout granted. With 31.6 remaining, the hustle play by Pack.
Hey, this is important, Ted, right here. This is what Bruce Weber wants out of Bradford. I mean, he's the lone K-State offensive rebounder, surrounded by 3 Baylor players. But he gets his hand up on there, keeps it alive, and they get an extra possession. You know, we just talked about Baylor and the energy that their bigs bring. When Bruce Weber talks about we've got to get more out of our fives, our bigs, that's what he's talking about. Plays like that from he, Lingard, and Eziegu.
Oh, we know how deep the Big 12 is, top to bottom. There's no such thing as a bad loss in this league. Kansas State, the lowest ranked team in the net at 63. This would be a quad 1 victory for Baylor on the road if they pull it out. Again, the depth is just staggering, Brendan.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because you'd like to have a semi-breather every once in a while, which you do not get in this league. But at the same time, you know, there's going to be good teams get beat 2 or 3 times in a row, but there's always opportunity to resume build.
Smith over Tchamwa Tchatchoua, left it short. Nice contest. Everyday John, shot clock turned off. Sohan gives it ahead. And a timeout for Scott Drew with 11.2 remaining. K-State crowd wanted to foul there at midcourt, but Baylor will have it. Chance to take the lead going to the locker room. They have not led since it was 6-5 about 4 minutes in. Brendan, what have you seen from Baylor coming off the loss to Kansas? Scott Drew insisted, we're going to be better. We're going to show more effort tonight.
Well, I definitely think that it's there. Early in the game, you know, they get 2 quick turnovers, and they're doing a good job of disrupting and pressuring. But I still don't think that they're doing it. You can do that and still contain. I think that with not a whole lot of ball movement, just being honest, that K-State's been able to get downhill, particularly Mark Smith. And I promise you they'll talk about that second half. But life on the Big 12, particularly the road, is really difficult. There's positives to talk about. Tchamwa Tchatchoua has been great, and Flagler really hasn't gotten going. And so that's some silver lining within this first half.
Akinjo handles, 5 seconds remaining in the half. And Kansas State with a foul to give. McGurl reaches in for his second personal. 3.7 remaining.
Yeah, smart right there. If you're going to foul, you got to let that clock get down. But plenty of time, obviously, for Baylor to get a look here with 3.7.
Flagler to inbound. And Weber wants Ish Massoud in the game with his length. Bradford comes out. 3.7 to go. Akinjo guarded by McGurl. Akinjo puts it up. Doesn't draw iron. And we are all square headed to the locker room. Mark Smith, the fifth-year senior. Nigel Pack, the burgeoning star, as a sophomore. Leading K-State, tied at 34 against number 10 Baylor. Coming up at the half, we get to know Nigel Pack.
And Pack.
And Noel played just 10 minutes in the first half because of foul trouble, did not score. As for Baylor, James Akinjo, 4 points coming off his scoreless outing against Kansas. 2 of 7 from the floor, but also 4 assists, and he leads the Big 12 in that category. Baylor in the gray, Kansas State in the white. Off we go in the second half. Akinjo inside. Nice look for Thamba, who is fouled.
Yeah, good first offensive possession right here for Baylor. Thing that you definitely want to do when you come out is, regardless of what you set up, is you want to get something moving towards the rim, either off the bounce or big, as rolling as you get Thamba right there.
It's the third on McGurl. So bookmark that. 17 seconds into the second half. McGurl starting again for the injured Selton Miguel.
And remember that first half, Noel picked up his second with a little over 14 minutes left. Bruce Weber was able to keep him over there on the bench for 8 minutes. And then Noel was able to get out of that half with just the 2 fouls. You know, and he had to get Pack some rest. And you don't want to have both Noel and Pack out of the game at the same time when you're playing Baylor, because of the quick runs they can put on you. So Noel did a good job of not picking up that third. At the same time, Bruce Weber was able to get Pack a little rest down the stretch of that first half, especially with Mark Smith going offensively.
Akinjo trying to rip it away from Noel. It's a tie-up. Kansas State ball with the arrow. Baylor has its first lead since it was 6-5, about 4 minutes in. You saw McGurl exit with the 3 personal fouls. Luke Kazuki is on. 22 in the white. Five to shoot. Pack has to create against Flagler. Pack well short.
Well, good defensive possession right there from Baylor.
Flagler off the mark. Rebound for Mark Smith. Pack the sidestep against Flagler. Missed again.
Ted, with McGurl over there on the bench with those 3 fouls, it magnifies even more K-State not having Selton Miguel, because that's perimeter depth that they don't have.
Flagler scoops it in. Flagler now with 8. Kansas State can't afford that. You're absolutely right. They could barely afford it when Noel was on the bench for half of the first half. Bradford fouled underneath.
Well, here's Flagler in the last possession. I mentioned it, Ted, that he never really got going in the first half. Obviously, we know about his ability to shoot it. Nice move right there. It's difficult to keep him down for 40 minutes. Again, with all the injuries and the managing of the roster game to game for Scott Drew and his staff, you know, Flagler has been the guy that has really stepped up point production and certainly in his leadership.
And this is Flagler's second game back from his own injury. There's a knee injury. Scott Drew says he's still not 100%, but he has looked much better in practice in between the loss to Kansas Saturday and the game tonight.
Once this team gets healthy, you get Cryer back. Again, managing all of that, the silver lining is other guys have had to step up. And hopefully, little by little, they are getting healthy. It's a big foul right there, Ted.
Yes, it is. Now 3 on Marquise Noel. So 3 on McGurl and 3 on Noel. You know, and some might ask, well, what's wrong with Baylor right now? They're 4-4 since the 15-0 start. Whistle blows again. Well, they're dealing with all these injuries, and it's not being used as an excuse, but there's a difference between an excuse and a reason. You don't have L.J. Cryer, the best three-point shooter in the Big 12 and top 5 in the country. That's going to affect things, especially as you try to space the floor. That will help space the floor. Tchamwa from deep.
A big shot right there. Hey, no, you're exactly right. Scott Drew basically plays 9 guys. That's a charge right there. But they haven't had those 9 guys. And the 4th on Noel,
Brendan.
That's 4. That's the decision making with Noel that sometimes concerns Bruce Weber. He has got to know that he's got to stay out of foul trouble.
Now with 4 personals on Marquise Noel, 3 on Mike McGurl. Here's the charge by Noel, Brendan.
Yeah, no question about this right here, and I'm not sure where he thought he was going. 2 things. Number one, the play's not there. He just picked up his 3rd, and if anything, there's Kasupke, who's a 3-point shooter. So now you have McGurl and Noel over there, and the thing Bruce Weber could not afford to do was have 2 of the 3 in Pack, Noel, or McGurl on the bench. It'll be tough to survive over the long haul against a top 10 team.
Matthew Meyer in and out. Kendall Brown fighting for it underneath, and a foul. It goes against Kansas State.
Yeah, and especially at a time, Ted, this Baylor team has come out the second half at both ends of the floor much more assertive and with really good purpose.
Bears are on a 7-1 run. Tchamwa shifting gears, left it short. Mark Smith and Nigel Pack put Kansas State on their backs in the first half. They're going to have to do it again with the foul trouble. And Noel and McGurl are in. Down low, Bradford. Working against Thamba, who swats it. Still K-State ball, 10 on the timer.
Now Thamba, a good position defender, basically just keeps him in front, avoids the foul right there, and Bradford not great yet at going over his right shoulder, Ted, so he becomes really easy to defend and shade if you just take away that left shoulder, which is exactly what Thamba did defensively.
We need someone to write the song Flo Thamba. If Mo Bamba was a hit by Sheck West, somebody's got to put together Flo Thamba. Come on. Under 10 to shoot. And Pack is fouled on the perimeter by Tchamwa, his first.
So what Bruce Weber really needs and wants is players outside of Pack and Smith just need to be solid and give good minutes. Again, Baylor's starting to get going. They're up 6. You've got those 2 guys over there in foul trouble. And if it gets any more away from you, he'd have to go back to him. But not if you have that guy right there continuing to make plays.
Pack with his 3rd 3. He's got 16 to lead all scorers. Dale Bonner downhill to the cup. Bonner with his first points.
Boy, explosive move right there from Bonner. You mentioned his minutes being up with all of the injuries. And obviously, that's a confident move right there from Bonner.
And Brendan, you're talking about a guy in Del Bonner who might have redshirted after transferring, if not for the injury to Langston Love.
That's right. That's just poor defensive positioning. Great rip and drive off that first step from Bonner.
Sohan the turnaround against Masood. Friendly bounce for the freshman from Milton Keynes, England.
Really smooth right there. Again, I talked about it in terms of his three-point shooting, and you saw it there in the middle of the paint. It's got really soft shooting touch.
So skilled at 6'9", Jeremy Sohan. Now Sohan trying to DM Pack. Feeding Smith. And Sohan vacuums it in for Baylor. Flagler lets it fly.
The good ball movement right there. Great sharing of it up there in the perimeter for Baylor.
Pack, no, Masood missing the tip. Kansas State going cold to start the second half. Sohan launches. Thamba pulls it down to foul. Is called. That'll be against K-State. Timeout. Baylor with its largest lead on the road. Its basketball teams all season long in their quest for national titles. New episode tomorrow, exclusively on ESPN+. Ted Emmerich, Brendan Manser with you. There was a cool feature on Our Time recently about Adam Flagler, who's a health science studies major. He wants to be a pediatrician. And so on Our Time, cameras show Flagler shadowing doctors at a local hospital during the season. That's so important for his application to med school. Flagler dedicated on and off the court.
You know, Scott Drew, talked about his, his desire, interest to be a pediatrician. It comes from just the kind of person that he is, wanting to take care of others. Good underneath out of bounds play right there to that timeout.
Tchamwa Tchatchoua, the first Baylor Bear in double figures with 10. The largest lead of the game for Baylor continues to grow. Kansas State 1 of 7 from the floor to start the half. Can they get anything beyond Pack and Smith? That's not going to help. The steal, Akinjo patient inside, and he lays it in.
And I tell you what's happened. Baylor's just a lot better defensively, and the shots aren't coming as easy, and K-State is not moving the basketball. When Baylor is locked in, they try to keep you on the sideline, and you have to swing it side to side, or you will not get good looks. And that's how the separation has come defensively from the Bears.
Another turnover by the Wildcats. McGurl dribbled it off his foot. 10th turnover for K-State. Baylor has scored 8 in a row. Akinjo long two. And it bounces home. Back-to-back buckets for James Akinjo, responding from the worst game of his life on Saturday. He's got 11.
K-State goes zone on that possession, and it was really a good defensive possession except for the poor closeout. And Akinjo, as you saw right there, and we've seen his entire career, really good mid-range game at all 3 levels.
He was a National Player of the Year candidate before he suffered that bruised tailbone against Texas Tech last month. Trying to turn the corner. Flagler didn't let him do it. McGurl swallowed up by Sohan. Baylor so balanced offensively. Sohan trying to join Akinjo and Tchamwa Tchatchoua in double figures. Couldn't do it. Out of bounds to K-State.
Yeah, and that's been Baylor all season long. Basically have 4 players, if you throw Meyer in there, 5 rather, that average in double figures. He's just under 10. One of the things that probably isn't talked enough about in Baylor and their program with what Scott Drew is doing is they are typically at the top of the Big 12 in terms of assists. I mean, as a team collectively, they really share it great.
Another steal by Akinjo, and he's fouled by Masood. Now Baylor leads the conference, 17 assists per game, 8 of them tonight. Another look at Akinjo.
Yeah, great trap in that corner, and they keep McGurl there, and because of McGurl doesn't have the size advantage, has to leave his feet, and that allows the run through, and here's the aftermath of that. And Akinjo, strong move right here, and Baylor will turn you over. They've been more solid defensively, had a sense of urgency more this second half, and turnovers starting to pile up for K-State.
And Brendan, this play is under review. He saw the hard foul by Ismail Masood coming down right on the face of Akinjo as he was trying to lay it in. Jerry Pollard, Roger Ayers, Byron Jarrett, our crew tonight. And it is a quick review, just a common foul against Masood. His second.
Well, plenty of time, Ted, in this game. But if K-State is going to make a run, certainly try to get this inside of 10 here soon, 2 things have to happen. They have to get stops. And they, too, need a sense of urgency on that defensive end. The other side of it is you have to take care of it. Baylor is great at disrupting you, and you can't be careless because that obviously doesn't give you an opportunity to score if you turn it over, but the second part of it is those live ball turnovers, and with Baylor's athleticism, this is what got Akinjo to the line. A steal, a live ball turnover. They have to do those 2 things well to give themselves a chance.
Yeah, 11 turnovers for Kansas State, 5 of them here in the first 7+ minutes of the second half. Baylor has scored 12 in a row, and the lead is 15. McGurl cut off. Pack from deep, and he got it. Unlimited range for Nigel Pack, his 4th 3.
Yeah, that was really good defense by Baylor. You saw the help continuing to rotate, but a nice job of Pat coming over the top to help Noel. Freed him up enough space.
Noel leading the break. Smith right down Broadway for 2. Back-to-back buckets for K-State, 5 in a row, and they're within 10.
Yeah, so you get a couple stops, a little life, an opportunity for another stop right here, Ted, and the potential to get it under 10 before the next media timeout.
Bonner in the paint. Offensive foul. Kazuki stepping in front for Kansas State. Wildcats take over, down 10 when we return. But the Bears can get excited about the future, too. Baylor signee Keontae George was out of this world Thursday in a top 10 high school matchup on ESPNU. 40 efficient points in IMG's 93-91 double overtime loss to La Lumiere. He sent the game to overtime with that 3 at the buzzer to close out regulation. The number 3 player in the ESPN 100, Keontae George, a Texas product from Louisville in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And Brendan, he's Baylor's highest ranked recruit in a decade.
Well, you were there, right? I mean, what makes him so special, Ted? I mean, you were on the call.
I was on the Jersey Shore. In fact, he was so efficient, and he has been this way his entire high school career. Nigel Pack misses the three, but a foul called. George scores at all three levels. He had 40 points the other night on 23 shots. 15 of 23, was 7 of 10 at the line. He plays well with other top recruits. Of course, IMG Academy, it's an all-star team at the high school level. But George is not some volume shooter. I can't wait to see what George does next year. Could very well be a one-and-done type player for Scott Drew.
Well, you put a smile on Scott Drew's face last night when we talked with him. He asked you basically what I did. You know, what'd you see in him the other night? Because you were there. But, you know, one of the reasons he's chose Baylor, Scott Drew and their staff, and I've said this before, do such a great job of developing players. Their guys get better. I mean, you can just look at recent players, particularly the guard end of the floor, because that's what George is. Look at Butler, and Teague, and Mitchell, those three on that national championship team. They didn't come that way. Obviously, they had talent, lots of upside. Baylor's as good as any team in the country at developing their guys, getting better and better each year. And I think it's cool that George recognizes that, and that was part of his decision-making.
And Baylor develops tight ends, too, and Mark Vidal with the Chiefs.
Come play for us if you want to go to the NBA or the NFL, right?
End of the shot clock. Meyer, no. Loose ball. Secured by Mark Smith. Yeah, Vidal was essential last year, as we know, on the national championship team. Pack trying to turn against Kendall Brown. Throws it up. Off the mark. And out to Baylor. Good defense by Brown, sticking in front of Nigel Pack, who's shaken up.
Yeah, you're right. Brown did a great job. Pack, it looked like had the angle, but Brown continued to move his feet, keep enough of a cushion, and just use his size to contest and make it a tough shot.
Kansas State on a 7-0 run. Flagler the kick. 2 to shoot, gotta put it up. And it goes for Baylor. Dale Bonner with the floater. Smith on the attack, lost the handle.
Well, Bonner continues to give good minutes. His minutes up the last few games. A pretty good defense by K-State, but get just enough of an angle, enough space. It's pretty right there. And a big bucket because K-State was on that run. He certainly had the momentum.
I remember Freddie Gillespie making the move from Division III to Baylor. Bonner moving from D2 to the Bears. Pack has 21 to lead all scorers. The fall away against Bonner. Give it to him. Nigel Pack. You just can't guard him.
Well, that's exactly what Bruce Weber did right there. You basically go to a horn set and you tell Pack, go make a play. That was well defended by Bonner, but Pack just has the ability to get those to go.
Meyer, the pivot. Turnaround doesn't drop. And out to Kansas State. Well, tickets are on sale now for the 2022 Big 12 Women's Basketball Championship. All session tickets start at just $50 and are available at big12sports.com/buy tickets. Can't wait to see you in Kansas City, March 10th through the 13th. Baylor is led by as many as 15 in this second half, Brendan, but with Nigel Pack on the comeback trail, foul is called at the 9:02 mark.
Yeah, with K-State grinding their way back in, what I was going to say is the next minute plus going to the next media timeout is extremely important. There's Pack, ability to go either way. He cuts it to 6.
So the layup for Pack, he's got 25, his 6th 20-point game in Big 12 play. Flagler underneath. Tchamwa Tchatchoua puts it in, +1.
You know, Ted, Baylor leads the league in three-point shooting, and they have not shot it great from there tonight. And I like the fact that they don't settle for the long-range shot. Notice, even though K-State has cut it under 10, they continue to try to attack the paint, whether it's off the bounce or nice plays like we just saw.
Tchamwa Tchatchoua, 78% foul shooter, but he couldn't finish the three-point play. Pack is feeling it over Sohan, not this time. But the offensive rebound, Kazuki short. Bonner chasing it down. Camera going haywire, and the whistle blows. It's that kind of game, Brendan.
That's how it is every night in this league. Pretty good look right there from Kazuki. And Bradford been more active tonight. You love the hustle, but no question on the foul.
Bradford's second. Baylor's in the bonus. Bonner's at the line for the first time tonight. 8 of 14 on the season. And he'll have one more.
You know, Bonner giving them a little offensive punch here. But you love your guys, Ted, that come off the bench and give quality minutes and make good decisions. This guy has a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio and makes very few poor decisions on the offensive end. That's why Scott Drew trusts him. That's why he's in here late in the second half.
Lead back to double digits for number 10 Baylor. Pack floats it in. 27 for Nigel Pack.
He just has tremendous feel right there. Rejects the ball screen because he had the lane, straight line down that left-hand side.
Starting to feel like when he had 35 against Kansas. Jonathan Tchamwa Tchatchoua, 2 more. He has been a force on the interior. 14 points for Everyday John.
Yeah, speaking of feel, he did a great job. I mean, he caught that in traffic. Kazuki was right there behind him, but yet he gathered himself, didn't travel. Sometimes those bigs get in a hurry. That's really smooth from Tchamwa Tchatchoua.
Kazuki tries the floater, and he banks it home. His second basket. The sophomore from St. Louis trying to give Kansas State additional scoring with McGurl and Noel in foul trouble. Flagler, long 2, a swish.
And Flagler giving Pack a little of his own medicine right there. Great shot fake. Gets Pack to leave his feet, and then, as we've seen so often, Flagler, that smooth jump shot.
The third bear in double figures. Noel playing with the 4 personals. Doesn't drop. Tchamwa Tchatchoua with the rebound.
Yeah, excellent job defensively right there. Just using his length, going straight up and down.
Akinjo way off. And Noel will hold it up. Pack, step back.
Yeah, Scott Drew, Ted, will slow them down right here. Baylor a little out of rhythm, getting those stops. He wants to make sure they finish this stretch cleanly before the next media timeout.
Under 6 to play. Tchamwa Tchatchoua. Oh, finding Akinjo. And fouled. Mark Smith coming over defensively, and we've got an official timeout. Baylor by 10. Baylor once again without their leading scorer, L.J. Cryer, because of the foot injury. But Brendan, they're making up for it with balance across the board and a lot of contribution from their bench.
Yeah, this team really moves it well. There's a Tchamwa right there. Sohan, that floater on the previous highlight. Tchamwa Tchatchoua, I mean, he's been terrific tonight. 14 points on 6 of 6 shooting, but see the ball movement, the sharing, the spacing. And this, again, is something that Baylor teams do. And then the end result on that, typically, because they share it so well, Ted, is you get balanced scoring. And this is what they've done all season long. Look, when this team is defending at a high level and rebounding, you know, when you throw what they're doing on the offensive end, this is why they are so good. And this is why you can lose the pros they lost on a national championship team last year and still be a top 10 team.
Tchamwa Tchatchoua from Cameroon first started playing basketball at 16 years old. That was just 6 years ago. His first basketball goal was a basket attached to a broomstick. Tchamwa Tchatchoua would use a soccer ball to shoot. Scott Drew told us last night, Brendan, he has worked so hard. That's how he got the nickname Everyday John. Imagine what he is next year as a senior.
Now, you know, everybody out on the floor, I'm assuming, you know, probably a good guess, right, Ted, that they all started playing basketball 4, 5, 6 years old. You know, what he's done at the level that he's done is tremendous. But as we talked to Scott Drew last night, and this makes sense, why he was able to contribute at this level so quickly is first and foremost, I mean, he's got a high motor, and that translates defensively and in board play. And now he's starting to become an offensive threat.
Mark Smith, step back three, no. Smith had 13 points in the first half, just 2 here in the second half. Kansas State has been operating with Nigel Pack against the world. Foul called with 13 on the timer. 42 total points from Smith and Pack. The rest of the team with just 11. Marquise Noel has not scored. He has been battling foul trouble. McGurl's been quiet as well. Smith, offensive rebound in the putback.
Well, this team, we've talked about it, and Bruce Weber virtually talks about it each day. They have to have a third score. Noel gets in that foul trouble. Ted, he's only played 16 minutes tonight. He has not scored. McGurl hasn't gotten going. He's got 2 points. It's typically one of those 2 guys that complement Smith and Pack, and they have not gotten that tonight.
They had 4 in double figures in the win over TCU on Saturday. Just 2 in double digits tonight. Tchamwa Tchatchoua puts it in, and he ties his career high with 16 points.
Boy, what a great cut to the basket right there. And we talked about his soccer background, and that obviously translates here. Great feel, and just learning to play without the ball as well. Watch this right here. Baylor, great screeners, pick, roll, catches in space. We saw him do that against Kasubki earlier. You know, Mark Smith's right there, but he can catch, gather, and softly get it to go.
Drew says that Tchamwa Tchatchoua has made such strides in terms of his basketball IQ and his skill level. We've seen it this season. Now the block on Noel. Still K-State ball, 15 to shoot.
That's both ends. This is what he's been ever since his Baylor career started. Defender. Just the knowledge to not let Noel body up to him. He stays off. Shot blockers want to be off of him. And he keeps enough cushion to make it easy.
Kansas State turns it over again. 13 giveaways, 7 of them here in the second half. Akinjo against Mark Smith. Kansas State. Baylor up by a dozen. Under 4 to play in Manhattan. Well, you can't expect to beat number 10 Baylor by yourself, but Nigel Pack sure has tried, Brendan.
Well, he's playing like a guy that deserves, at least this point, to be first-team All-Big 12. He's certainly on the cusp of that, and just makes so many tough shots. The second half, Baylor's done a better job making him take those over the top, but he continues to produce those 27 points of 9 of 18 from the floor. Ted, he's got 27 threes over the last 6 games now.
Absurd. Yeah, Mark Smith was right there with him in the first half, 13 before the break, just 4 points though in the second half. This was a tie game at halftime, 34 all. Baylor has wrestled control. Defensive effort overall. They've held K-State to 35% shooting here in the second half. And Baylor, with a win, if they can close this out, will move to within a half game of Kansas, which lost to Texas on Big Monday.
Now you remember, 2 of those losses for Baylor were at home, which was uncharacteristic. They lost to Tech and Oklahoma State in back-to-back games. So obviously you got to go on the road and get some back, and they've been doing that.
Baylor with the strip. Bonner. Counted with the foul. Dale Bonner, one-man fast break.
Well, great hands right there. He's been terrific for Scott Drew tonight, particularly the second half. And, great teams have depth, right? And so you got guys out, next man up. Bonner's played heavier minutes as of late, and I can just see the confidence in him. He knows that he can go out and produce, and obviously Scott Drew and his staff playing him heavy minutes again tonight, and he's been a big part of this game being pushed up to 15 points.
Pack drains another one. 29 for Nigel Pack. Now for Bonner, it's 9 points and 3 assists. Big effort off the bench again. Bonner the lob. Everyday John with an everyday jam.
And kind of fitting that those 2 guys, Ted, connect right there. As we talked about earlier, the bench production has been so good tonight from Baylor, in particular from those 2 guys.
Tchamwa Tchatchoua with a career-high 18 points. Flagler missed from the outside. Kazuki the rebound. Now Kansas State coming in among Joe Lenardi's next 4 out. Pack draws the foul. One more look at the alley-oop.
Yeah, Ted, here you break the pressure, right? The double team, that's going to give you numbers on the back end. And Bonner attacks and throws it up there for an easy one. The game changed coming out the second half, Ted, and we talked about it. And knowing Scott Drew like I do, I know the staff talked about the defensive intensity and urgency's got to pick up. I didn't think it was great the first half. Second half, came out, got a series of stops, got a little bit control of the game. Bruce Weber having to manage some foul trouble within that mix, and then little by little Baylor able to push it beyond 10 points and be in control. But it was the defensive end of the floor that allowed him to be in this position.
Brown lost his balance. Loose ball, and out to Kansas State with 2:35 left. So Kansas State is back on the bubble after the wins over Oklahoma State and TCU last week. They have no bad losses on their resume playing in the Big 12. This is a big stretch coming up. They knew, hey, a win tonight, as unlikely as it might be against number 10 Baylor, that would certainly bolster the resume. But games coming up against Iowa State and West Virginia, all in the next 6 days. Kendall Brown is fouled. This is going to be important for Bruce Weber's team. We thought that they were done after the loss to Ole Miss. They were 2-6 in the league, then the loss in the Big 12 SEC Challenge. But if you float around 500, as we know, even if you finish at 8-10, you're going to be under consideration. In fact, at 8-10 this year in the Big 12, you might very well be a lock. So the question is, can Kansas State get to that point?
Well, that's exactly what I was thinking. And as I was looking at the upcoming schedule here, and here it is. So what K-State has after tonight, Ted, they've got 3 home games left. And so that's West Virginia, Iowa State, Oklahoma. So first and foremost, to your point, they've got to protect the home 4 from here on out. Then you have to go steal one on the road. That's the formula that gets you to 8-10.
Let's go.
I did like the line from last month Mark Smith had, talking about the NCAA tournament. Again, Kansas State hasn't been since 2019 when they shared the regular season title in the Big 12 with Texas Tech. Mark Smith said, if you're not dreaming, you're not living. That's the goal. And Smith was a part of an NCAA tournament team last year at Missouri. The question is, can Kansas State push through? Whistle with 2 minutes to go. Again, these games against Iowa State, West Virginia coming up. These are 2 teams that are below K-State in the standings at the moment. But as we know, that means nothing in the Big 12.
Yeah, exactly. And again, this league every night gives you an opportunity for a quality win. And the opportunities are out in front of Kansas State. But obviously, as time goes along, as you see Joey Brackett's right now at the Big 12 having 7. But opportunities are there. And they've done it before. They've won at Texas. They've won at TCU. So they've had really good wins.
Again, just about every game in the Big 12 is a quad 1 opportunity for Kansas State moving forward. Baylor, meanwhile, projected as a 2 seed at the moment by Joey Brackett's. And this would be another quad 1 victory for the resume. Offensive foul with 1:41 to go. Now you just imagine, Brendan, what Baylor can be when they are whole, when LJ Cryer returns. And okay, Adam Flagler's a few games removed from the knee injury. Akinjo looks more like himself after the bruised tailbone a month ago. When they're back to the team that we saw that was 15-0 and #1 in the country.
Yeah, no question. And so of the 9-player basic rotation for Baylor, they have not been whole. So I think it's January 8th, which is early in conference, the second weekend of conference play. And that, Scott Drew, we talked to him. Yeah, they just want to get healthy. He still thinks this team's got a chance to do some really special things. And hey, despite all that, they're right in the middle of having an opportunity to win a Big 12 regular season championship after tonight only being a half game behind Kansas.
Well, we asked Drew last night about the vocal leadership, or you could even say lack thereof, on the team. I was struck by a Chris Budden report during the Baylor-Kansas game Saturday on ESPN. Drew was very open about it with Bob Wischusen, Fran Fraschilla, and Chris. And Drew told us last night, this is just a quiet team by nature. On top of that, all the new players, whether you're freshmen like Sohan or Kendall Brown, whether you're a transfer like James Akinjo, there is not that one voice, right, to spur the team. But Drew did say everyone knows their roles, and that's step 1. Tchamwa Tchatchoua from the outside. He drains the 3. A career night for Jonathan Tchamwa Tchatchoua. 21 points.
Well, you're talking about a guy.
20 seconds.
He hadn't taken a three till this year, and now he's made 6 of those.
6 of 13 on the year. Well, Scott Drew promised that his team would be better. After getting blown away by Kansas on Saturday, they certainly were. The Bears surged past Kansas State in the second half, 75-60, and Baylor earns its 20th win of the season.
And a good bounce-back game for Baylor after the disappointment in Lawrence on Saturday, but they did it, Ted, exactly like you need to, particularly on the road. Defense first. The second half was terrific by the Baylor Bears, and that's how you win on this league away from home.
Despite Nigel Pack's 31 points from Kansas State, Baylor prevails. Jonathan Tchamwa Tchatchoua, a career-high 21 points, one of 3 Bears in double figures. Now for Brendan Manzer and our entire crew, this is Ted Emmerich.